I'm Greg Cummings, CEO of Power100, and we're sitting down today with a legend in the industry, Dave Yoho, founder and CEO of Dave Yoho Associates. Now, we're sitting down with him because of his excellent track record, and he's obviously provided value to thousands of companies across the nation. But we're also sitting down with Dave to get a pulse on the industry of today, and also to hear firsthand who would benefit from attending the next event that they're putting on, the Houston Peak Profit Summit on April 30th to May 2nd. At that event, I will be on stage speaking with the number one ranked CEO in the country, James Freeman, as well as one of my advisory board members, Steve McNary. We'll be discussing how to create a culture of accountability. So, Dave, thank you so much for joining us on PowerChat and for all of your work that has paved the way for so many. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, and appreciation as well.
Before we get started, let me just share how we got here. Might be relevant. We're Power100. We're a national publishing company that focuses on the top 100 CEOs in the country, as well as the top 15 strategic partners. Here in July, we're going to be releasing the top 25 manufacturing partners. As well as in our hopper, we will be releasing the top events in the industry. Now that's not out yet, but based off of our proprietary ranking system and being the only 100% third-party platform, Yoho Associates and their show has scored very, very high. So that's why we're here. That's why we're attending, because our mission is to partner with the absolute best in the industry. This way we can help the top CEOs achieve more by helping more Americans across this great country. Dave, would you mind introducing yourself for the one person out there that maybe doesn't know who you are, and maybe a brief overview on the Peak Profit Summit that's going to be taking place in Houston?
All right. First name is David. I go by Dave. Middle initial A, which stands for Alan. Last name is the complexing one. 4 letters, Y-O-H-O. Dave Yoho. I go by Dave Yoho. My name is actually David. And this company that we're interacting with you today, this is Dave Yoho Associates, which is a division of a company called Surface Shield Institute, which was formed in 1963. And our interaction with this industry goes back to 12 years before that was formed. And our business today is working with companies, anywhere from manufacturers to retailers to the intermediates, people like Home Depot or Lowe's, and financial institutions who are interactive in financing, and even certain law groups. And the reason for all of that is so that we can acquire the knowledge and the understanding of the complexities of this industry better and serve the needs of the people within it by making them familiar with that. People often ask me, what kind of information do you utilize? Everything conceivable when you run a business. It's a manufacturing business, a distributor, or a retailer. But the key is the person. The key are the people. And so we fundamentally surround ourselves with that. We say we don't give accounting or legal advice, which we don't, but we give an opinion on almost everything. Other than that, I stand mute.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned a wide variety of people, specifically at the Houston event, Dave. If I'm a CEO of a company out there, who is the target audience that really should say, you know what, I'm going to get out and I'm going to go to this event. I'm going to take time away from my business, even though it might be difficult in the moment to step away from the business. But is there a specific demographic, whether it's revenue number, size of employees, like, is there anything in your mind that who needs to be at this event or who can get the most out of it, I should say?
Okay, we stress good management. Now, good management is, our biggest client does about $1.4 billion annually, retail. The gentleman who will be introducing the program down there is a man who owns 12 companies, 1,200, and this year will probably hit $700 million. On the other end, we have 13 account executives who interact with people We have small companies who want to grow bigger. Now, a small company could be anyone from a company that has few employees and maybe does less than $1 million. But the average small company will range anywhere from there up to 7, 8, or 9 million. And the complexity of all these companies relates to people. How do you find people to fill the roles that are necessary to complete the sale that you make? Now, the sale that you make has to come from a good marketing department and a good sales department. We'll cover that. We try to cover the things that people don't think about that may be occurring to them. There are changes in the modality, the systems, the methods that people are using for buying today. Now, not only are there more complexities in the buying, but, if I had one suggestion, stop listening to the news. It'll scare the hell out of you. And most of it may or may not be true. But you can apply it to yourself, and the minute you do, you may get discouraged. If you have difficulty hiring people, giving them more money is not the answer. If you have difficulty attracting people, just putting an ad or putting a posting somewhere is not the answer. If you have a lead base where you distribute it to salespeople, but the lead base has to be managed by a marketing department who intakes the lead inquiry, and then converts it to a set appointment for the people. All these things are complexities, and most of them resolve around people. Let me say one other thing. I love this industry. I've worked in a lot of industries besides this industry in the series of what I do. We represent major corporations, like we had a contract with GE for 13 years. On the other end of the flip, we operate with some smaller companies who have grown to larger companies. The indicia always is, what are you, anyone listening to this, what are you willing to give up to become as good as you have a potential to be? And I don't mean that as some sort of a quip. Information is costly. I don't care how you look at it. Why? The first investment you have to make is your time. And for someone to come to one of our programs and say, well, I don't have time, I'm so busy. We understand. We don't beg you, beat you over a stick, or give you a free airline ticket. But the truth is that the people who make it, the people who cut it, the people who can face all of the distractions and all the challenges of this industry, they've got to invest the time to know what is going on. And a lot of bad stuff is going on in what should be a good environment for this business.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. If you are a CEO or a leader out there that says, maybe I don't have time for this, I don't have time to go, that might be a really good indicator that it is time for you to go and check out one of these events. Because if your business is so dependent on you being there and being present, then that's all the more reason to go attend one of these events, in particular the Houston event, and learn and be around people that have both been where you were, where you are, and also where you want to be. Dave,
let me comment on what you just said. You said something that I'd like to have stashed in their heads, right?
Okay.
When you go to the program, you have to listen with 2 ears and 1 mouth. Many people in our industry listen with 1 ear and 2 mouths. Now, I don't mean that to be disrespectful. The average small businessman is that. He's an entrepreneur. He's a businessman only in the essence that he is in a business. But when you face all the complexities, there may be 10 or 12 different things that you have to do every year, some month on month, some week to week, some day on day, that you have to understand the complexity of these things and not curse them and say, well, how does this and why do they have the right to do that? New piece of legislation. It's really a regulation attached to an old piece of legislation came out. We had 663 companies online to tell them about this. It has to do with the way a lead is taken and what you can or cannot do with that customer's phone number and that customer's identification with that number. Everybody sitting here has had the complexity, big time complexity of trying to get people on the phone. And every one of you have had the same experience of getting spam calls. Now, how do you differ what you are going to say or would like to say with the spam caller? Both people think they're legitimate. And the truth is, you're only legitimate to the degree that you can approach a customer, get him to open his eyes and his ears, retain, and when you give him instructions like write down the number and give us permission, and we'll call you and set up an appointment. But you have to have certain verbiage in there to comply with this new regulation. And you get a lead at a home show, or you get a lead from a lead aggregator where there's abundance of leads, and you and 4 other people get the lead, you have some complexities to face. That's what we try to do, help you face them by understanding the groundwork. Now, why do I say, again, it's expensive? No, going to our program is not expensive because we have 25 or 30 sponsors, and those sponsors are really paying for, when we rent a big studio and we bring in AV people and we feed you lunch, breakfast, or whatever, that all costs big time money. But we have sponsors who pay for that. But you got to get your butt there. You got to get on a plane from where you live to where you're coming here or driving. And then you have to give up 2 days or 2.5 days to get everything you need. That's where the complexity is, because entrepreneurs don't see that. And I live in a world which says you cannot know what you do not know. And you will not know what you do not know until you can say in your heart, mind, and body, I do not know. And then if someone tells you about how they're doing it, and as you begin to know, it is still worthless until you go out and do it. And doing it is complex as well, your investment per se. I hope I answered your question.